Hello, this is Warpath 1985 speaking, and yes, I've returned. Here's what has happened since then, from my last review slash video. Well then, to best put it, I've been quite busy in my personal life. I right now am volunteering at my local food pantry, and that's mostly because so I can get my diploma from my high school, standard stuff. Problem is that I work for 150 hours instead of supposedly beforehand normal 50 hours. If you're curious why, I have no clue. I have zero clue. Why is that a mandatory thing? And if I don't want to do it, I won't get my diploma. So yeah, it's kind of important when you do that. But besides that, I also been putting out some reviews here and there, mostly because I've been wanting to do video game reviews and general videos. However, two separate videos I planned. I was thinking just three, but I'll get that later. Two of them were completely destroyed, and that was because my computer is old. My computer is old, very, very old. Not that old, but very, very old when it comes to gaming and PC shenanigans. It's like 4 years old now, and it definitely needs an upgrade. I only realized this until when I was recording those videos. I didn't notice that Shadow Play apparently failed on me, really, really badly, and I'm not necessarily sure why though. My only assumption is that it's just too much. Because the first one was pretty shocking that I couldn't take it in, which was Minecraft, because we will reveal the new update 1.20. I think it's 1.20. Or is it 1.21? I think it's 1.21. I think it's 1.21. I had it all recorded, and the Shadow Play just failed. It only recorded the audio, but not the visuals, which sucked. I had to scrap that video entirely. The second one was, it was called, correctly pronounce it, I believe it goes, Still Wakes the Deep, I believe it's called. I correctly pronounced the title. I put that's your name here. And recorded, a decent chunk of the game. I took some breaks here and there to, help it out, not really, stress out my PC, and both of the recordings were corrupted. Not necessarily corrupted, more just ruined. It didn't record anything, and not only that, apparently it recorded 1 second, which was the title and the pause screen. I have no clue how the hell did it happen twice. Because it happened twice, because I didn't notice this until I was noticing how Shadow Play was acting up a little weird, and then looking at my computer and realized that, oh wait, it didn't record any of that, and I just wasted a large portion of my time recording all this stuff. So yeah, that's where I've pretty much been currently now. If you're curious what was the third one that I kind of scrapped, it was a review for the Black Series ATSD and the Vintage Collection re-release of that ATSD driver that came in that vehicle set. I was doing a review for it, and I didn't really like it. I didn't really enjoy how it was very unfinished, is the best way to describe it. And I decided to scrap it. This is gonna be, of course, a semi-update, but also, of course, a review. Because I'm wanting to do a review, but I haven't had that much time until now. In which, let's get into it. This is the Star Wars The Vintage Collection, Arf Trooper Havoc. Now, Havoc is more or less was a Arf Trooper commander, some Fordo and technically Captain Rex and etc. Majority of the captains and commanders you see in the Clone Wars who have cameras and pauldrons over, they're kind of supposed to be the halfway point to be Arf Trooper, because although they visually are Arf Troopers, not technically Arf Troopers in lore, they're in fact like trained by Arf Troopers and probably like semi-Arf Trooper like program, while still not Arf Troopers, so like commanders and officers. It's confusing, but Havoc is of course part of a quad type of unit, whatever, which was called Rancor Battalion, I think it was called, and included Havoc, Blitz, Hammer, and Colt. The most interesting part is that Hammer, although he only appeared in 2 scenes in the show, one was in like a foreground shot you can see is like his upper torso and his helmet, and one was in like the background where he was standing around talking to, I believe, was Mace Windu, and that was it for him. Hammer didn't appear in any other media, and he didn't even get like a actual toy from the original Clone Wars toy line. Not talking about the Target House ones, but talking about the one that was done by Dave Filoni. He only ever technically got like 1 figure, but was it actually a figure of him? It was more as a concept art figure, because it's part of like a exclusive 4-pack of Captain Rex, Fordo, and I believe it was Havoc and obviously Hammer. I always think it was Havoc. Yes, it was Havoc in armor. It was Havoc. And because of that, those figures are pretty rare, hard to find, which is kind of a big reason why this figure is so important. But Hammer, though, he never really got a true figure. He was oddly enough the only for a while, clone Arf Trooper to ever get a Lego minifigure. He was the only one to ever get one, and he was also the only one to have a camera, a pauldron, a unique helmet, and unique like accessories, because he came with a exclusive colored like maroon antenna and accessories, because I believe those colors weren't released ever again, I believe, because they obviously work for Hammer and Hammer only, because his colors are obviously maroon and white, gray, etc. Very similar to Colt, but not really. Biggest difference between both of them is that Colt has I believe Colt has, similar to Havoc, a gray like covering or face, while Hammer is kind of the inversion of that, or inverse of that. Confusing, yes, but obviously very, very interesting. And oddly enough, once again, Hasbro doesn't want to produce another Arf Trooper, that being Hammer, which makes sense because the Walmart Studios Arf Troopers kind of didn't sell that well. They kind of shell formed, not even necessarily shell formed, but mostly shell formed online. You can still like find Havoc here online and etc. Pretty decent prices, which is where I got this figure from, mostly on the aftermarket, because I couldn't even find them in stores, and I really wanted to get them because, well, I really like Arf Troopers and Clone Troopers, etc. So, get into the figure itself, which is a reuse of the 2020 Arf Trooper mold, that being the Phase 1.5 Arf Trooper, which is pretty good. It is very much a weird figure, to say the least, because oddly enough, and this is very weird, I was saying very embarrassing, but mentioning now, this figure is quite small, and you're going to see that much later in the video. The figure is very much filled to the rim with accessories. It also comes with a Clone Trooper blaster, which I believe it is called DC-15 or 11. Can't remember. or DC-17. I can't remember probably the names of this gun here, or blaster. But yeah, standard clone blaster. It is a reuse of the normal clone trooper blaster mold, and it is not a brand new mold, as you see right here. It is the same mold. And this is the exact opposite for the much larger blaster that he is included with, which all of this is of course game molded from the previous figures, because the previous figures who first came with this mold, Jesse, Echo, and Fives, were shown to have used those blasters, so obviously they came with those blasters. So this figure also included because game molding, etc. So yeah, it comes with a brand new, another brand new blaster here. It's corresponding with the one that was included in the 4-pack that came out around the same time with this figure. Phase 2, Phase 1 Clone Troopers, which is the final hurrah of that mold, before the new Clone Trooper mold came out a little bit later that year. Or more or less in 2023. It's kind of confusing. But yeah, it was released much later. You can tell there's a lot of differences. Obviously, this Clone Trooper was really old. I believe it came out way back in 2005, or I want to say 2005 or 2010. This Clone Trooper Blaster mold is pretty old. This one is obviously brand new mold, as you can tell, it being a lot more detailed and a lot more accurate to how it's seen in the various video games, TV shows, and movies. While this one's is more or less a much chunkier version, which is also based on various TV shows, movies, etc. However, it's a lot less accurate since a much more heavier version. This blaster is much better defined, technically, even though you can use it in Battlefield 2, having it call correctly. Anything else for using blower. It comes with a couple of pistols. These are called DC. I don't know why I'm forgetting the blaster's names, but yeah. It comes with little pistols, which is pretty cool. The problem is that the figure can't really hold the actual pistols because how tiny they are. They just barely fit in there, and they're pretty loose in there as well. So yeah, like you can secure it by having the trigger finger just in there, like this. But once again, it's still pretty loose in there, especially when you put it in the holster, where it easily just falls out, like so. It also comes with a helmet, which is obviously removable. This is a Beer's mold. And that's also removable on that figure as well, which is, I believe, I think this is, yeah, 5s. Yeah. Sadly, my figure does have the obvious QC issue with the tail ends are very like bent. But for some reason, that's the most crispest print I've ever seen on a Havoc figure, because a lot of Havoc figures were done dirty, especially comes to Blitz, because oh good god, Blitz was, he was, oh man, words cannot describe how hideous Blitz prints were. He does have a removable chest plate and backpack piece, I believe. You can move it like this, like so, I believe. Or just, I don't know. Yeah, it's removable. It's pretty cool. He does not have a removable canna and belt piece, but it is a little bit loose in there to allow for articulation, which I will get into right now, because articulation is relatively the same, because it is just your standard 2016 articulation type articulation when it comes to these figures. So it has a dumbbell joint at the head, has decent hinges at the shoulders, and also over 9-degree bend at the elbow. has some hinges at the hands, almost the wrist, a wrist swivel, has a very nice ball joint at the waist. He has those really weird ball joints, almost hinged ball joints that these figures curse for, like, I want to say like 4-ish years until they're finally replaced. It was a 4-ish years, right? Actually, no, it was more or less. Actually, yes, it was 4-ish years because DHL existed and kind of things like whatever. But yeah, it has those weird joints, which just suck. They do work a lot better since he's not like some of the older figures like the Show Trooper, etc., where they really struggle with this. But it's still pretty bad because you have this type of situation where, so here, the knee pads just stick out on the side. But that's usually just the problem with all Clone Troopers. You have a thigh cut, calf rotation, which I'm like calf can rotate. Obviously has a nice little, pretty much a knee bend at the knee. Has an ankle rocker, and obviously you can move up and down. So his articulation is pretty good, but it's definitely a little bit limited, especially compared to the newer Clone Trooper mold. Here's comparisons with. Just moving back. Actually, no. I forgot to mention this because this is actually important. He does have a unique head, mostly because he has a goatee, airhead goatee, more or less, which is pretty cool. Didn't mean to do that, but it's pretty cool nonetheless that they gave him a slightly different head sculpt instead of just giving like the same head as Fives, which is where this head first came from, I believe. Just trying to zoom it in and focus. So here's a comparison with the 4-pack version of the 2000, I believe it was 12, I believe, Clone Trooper mold. As you can tell, he's a lot smaller. This is mostly because I believe this is kind of what happened, and this is kind of really weird. Because a lot of these figures are obviously based on Tom Morrison, the actor who played Jango Fett and the clones, and the obviously Attack of the Clones. And I think they base his height on modern day Tom Morrison, who's a lot older. You know, it's getting to that age where, you know, it's getting a little short, etc., which happens a lot to old people. You know, it's kind of rude, whatever. But yeah, as you can tell, this is Boba Fett, this is Havoc, same size, but this is Clone Trooper, obviously a lot bigger. I do not understand why they did it, but they did. And it's kind of weird, because they also did it to other figures who obviously weren't that size. Like, all the Arf Troopers that were introduced in, which also included the 4-pack. Once again, significant size difference. And finally, the Phantom Menace Battle Damage Battle Droid, because I used it in a photo shoot that I'll probably see in the review. For Drew 1. Not sure when I'll release this one. And that's it for this figure. I do definitely recommend it. However, be very aware that this figure obviously has those weird QC issues with the helmet, but also is very short. It works a lot better when the figure's in a striking like pose, and so are all the Clone Troopers around him. But obviously, for a lot of Star Wars clone collectors, I want like your classic Clone Trooper stance at the end of like Attack of the Clones, which obviously doesn't particularly work with Clone Troopers who are obviously a lot taller than this guy, who's supposed to be their commander. But yeah, that's it. That's all for this review. Like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully see you next time.